Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Caffeinated Librarians, MPL's pop culture podcast. We're continuing our discussion of Buffy with season
2, correct. Before we get started, I told two teenagers that I would shout them out. Two teens that actually go to the Austin Public Library, watch this show pretty religiously.
Oh, thank you.
And they actually quote stuff. And the other day, Simona had to call me from here at the other job. And when I hung up, I said, bye, Simona. And one of the kids actually went, from the Caffeinated Librarians.
Aw, thank you.
Let's go.
So shout out Max and Alex. Thank you, guys.
Aw, thank you so much for watching. So we're continuing our discussion with Season 2. And Season 2, we're discussing Episode 1, When She Was Bad, Episode 21, Becoming Part 1, and Episode 22, Becoming Part 2. So just some quick backstory about, what's happening in Season 2. So,
Whoa. Should we first kind of because the first episode that we watched is basically tied right into the first season.
Yeah.
So let's just start there and then we get into what happens in season 2.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We can start there.
I think that's a better. So at the end of season 1, Master dies. Buffy, and then it's summer vacation, which is just a perfect timing because after you fight the Master, you just have to go on summer vacation. Buffy comes back. She seems a little like she got a little PTSD from dying. Imagine that. And the Anointed One and his very racially diverse group of vampires digs up the Master's bones.
really looking like a math textbook.
To try and bring him back. By the way, what was the black vampire wearing? He looked very Louisiana to me, not California.
I kind of saw him as almost like someone who had once been a preacher before he was turned.
Yeah, but like a preacher in the South. You know what I mean?
Maybe like Baptist, yeah.
In the South, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're in California.
He can't migrate?
Yeah, Angel's from Ireland.
Fair.
And Spike and Drusilla are British.
Fair. Good points. Touche, both of you. Basically, that's the plot of the first episode, right? Is Buffy dealing with her PTSD. There's a very sexually charged dance scene.
So, okay, that's the plot, but I want to talk about the vibes of this episode.
Let's talk about
vibes. Because this, to me, was an immediate, okay, so season 1, fun, get a little goofy, Monster of the Week show mainly, with some overarching themes, I wasn't on the first episode, so I'll say it now. The bit in Nightmares with Buffy's dad, excellent stuff. But when she was bad, it's just oh yeah, no, we're in it now. This is real. There are real emotional stakes and consequences to things, and Buffy is not okay with this. This is insane that a teenager does this for a job, more or less.
Yeah, a job she doesn't even get paid for or anything like that. It's just
and there is an episode in season 2 where it's the episode School Hard, so it's sort of where the parents meet the teachers. And Buffy basically is talking about how she has a lot of pressure because academically, her night job doesn't really mesh well with her real life. So academically, she's not the best student. Although in later seasons, it's proven that she is intelligent. She can do well if she has the time to study. And her mom says wait until you get a job. And she opens her drawer and you see the crucifix. She's I do have a job. So I just wanted that was my tie-in.
I just wonder. And I know Angel points it out, and I know we know what's going to happen because we've seen it, but who's the real smart one? I think it's Cordelia, because we're jumping ahead, I know, to the other episode now, but Cordelia's maybe, and I think it's because we watched the first episode of season 2 and then went right to the finale, but the same thing happens in both episodes where they draw Buffy out just to attack her friends. And it's kind of watching those episodes back to back. You're kind of like Buffy. You're not and Angel does point it out. It's funny because he's you
fall for it every time.
Because,
I love it
because I think Buffy. And you see that with a lot of the friends. One of the things I do love about the show, which some people have more characterization and growth than others, but that they're not perfect. And Buffy, when she's motivated by her emotions, is not thinking clearly. And it's sort of like even in the first episode where they get the rock thrown through the window and they get the message about Cordelia, and Giles, Willow, and Xander try to say, like, let's hold on a moment, let's stop and think. First of all, she is angry, very angry throughout the entire episode. She's resentful. And she doesn't listen. And Willow says, what about the other part of the note where it's a trap? And Giles says, you'll be playing right into it. And she doesn't listen. And then afterwards, she has to face the consequences where that means that Xander, Willow, Cordelia were all kidnapped because she didn't bother to just stop and listen. So it's one of her character flaws. She'll do that a lot throughout the show.
It's a pretty big flaw.
Yeah.
She does do the vampire version of waterboarding. She, by sticking the cross down the vampire's throat.
Yeah.
I liked that. That was cool.
She needed answers.
Yeah. And she got them.
She did.
Also, what a ridiculous ritual, though. The people that were physically closest to him are going to bring him back? Really? Yeah. I get it. I understand it.
They got to get Cordelia for this. Like,
what if he died in, like in the bronze, and there was, 45 people in there? Did
they would have had to get all 45.
What a ridiculous ritual.
Speaking of the bronze, this has a great act this episode. Chiba Mato, a great 90s alt-rock band, sort of Shibuya K stuff. I love them. I couldn't believe they were in this episode. I really couldn't believe how casually they were introduced and everyone just being like, oh, I love them. You can't wait. But, and they provide the soundtrack for what I consider to be the set piece of the episode, Buffy dancing with Xander.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, my God. That is an emotionally complex and, weird and cruel scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It felt, God, I feel like such a dork, but I'm like, it was giving me Twin Peaks vibes,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that, yeah. And also, Buffy is dancing very seductively. Xander's kind of just standing there. Move your hips a little, Xander. Move your feet a little, man. What are you doing?
Because he realizes what she's doing. You see it in his face, how his face changes, and
You don't think he realizes that until when she says that? By the way, what a sexy thing to say. Goodness, what a provocative thing to go with.
Well, because when she first sees him, you want to dance, he's like, okay. So he's, I think, initially shocked that she would ask. And you see that at first he is, kind of moving with her, and then he slowly realizes, I know why you're doing this. And then when she turns, she says, don't you wish I would? Thank you. So I think at a certain point he starts to realize, I get why you're doing this now.
All we know of Xander, though, do we think Xander would care?
He does.
Xander's a little...
Well, because there's another episode in the third season, which I call it the Roofie episode, and when you watch it, you'll understand why I'm calling it that. Because basically, I don't want to spoil too much, but Xander does a spell that goes terribly wrong, and it causes all the women in Sunnydale to be madly, obsessively in love with him. And Buffy falls under that spell, too. So she comes seductively to him, and he realizes, she's under a spell, and he goes, if you only knew what it would mean to me if you actually wanted to do this right now. So he says, but I know that you're not in your right mind, so I can't do this. So, yeah, he can be but he has his moments where he has, sensitivity.
I don't like him one bit.
Yeah.
I don't like what he's doing to Willow.
No.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have not watched, in the episodes we have not watched one episode that has redeeming Xander stuff in it. He looks awful in all of these episodes. I mean, him, that's, I think, the becoming one. But doesn't he say something pretty in the first one, too? Where they're in the library? Or am I just thinking about becoming?
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, he's not...
Oh, that's what it was. When she's fooled, and she comes back, and he's like, this is all your fault.
Yeah.
He's bleeding and everyone else has just been taken, and he's like, yeah, this is all your fault. If you had just listened to us.
Meanwhile, when they were planning stuff, he was like, Cordelia, everyone here is insane.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
he's
don't
the
like
worst.
the guy.
He's the worst.
Yeah, like, arguably, yes, he's not the best character. Like, he has a lot of faults, but he does have moments, like, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, because if you guys decide you want to watch, there are good moments where
I'm
think
sure there are,
he
but
shows
we
that
didn't-
his character had
But
it
we
been
didn't watch
written,
any of those moments.
yeah,
so.
had it been written by a better person, had potential.
He's gotta stop messing with Willow, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the best character on the show, nicest person.
Yeah.
Well, there's an episode in season 1 which you didn't watch, which I was debating. It's one of my favorites. It's called The Pack, and essentially Xander and the school bullies get taken over by a hyena spirit, and it makes them act aggressively. So he almost sexually assaults Buffy, and he says, do you know how long since I've been waiting for Willow to essentially get a clue that I could never be attracted to her or something like that. So, yeah.
Okay. Are
No.
you trying to make the point that he's a good guy?
No, basically, I was agreeing with Joe that.
Oh, okay.
God, I feel like I'm being attacked.
So why don't we start getting into the rest of the season? Because I gotta tell you, if you're gonna watch anything, viewers, just watch the second season. Actually, there was a point where I was like, I should really just rewatch the entire second season, because the second season is balls to the walls, awesome.
Yeah.
Everything about it is excellent. Everything about it's great. It's very, very well written. Very, very well acted. It's really excellent. So we jumped from the first episode to the season finale, which is probably the greatest season finale in. It's definitely the best season finale of Buffy. Might be one of the best season finales of television. So get us from episode 1 to episode 20. Briefly.
Okay. All right. So there are some major characters that are introduced in this season.
We're introduced to Spike and Drusilla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Spike and Drusilla start off as the main antagonists of this season. They are lovers. They are.
Ugh, I hate that word unless it's between meat and pizza.
They are romantically involved. Drusilla is Spike's sire. You also learn that Angel is the one who sired Drusilla, and
It's very incestuous.
And her insanity. You learn, because this is revealed in Becoming Part 1, that she started off as a very pious woman. She was gifted with foresight, and Angel became very obsessed with her. He stalked her. He ended up killing all her family and torturing her into insanity before he eventually turned her. And then she turned Spike. So they're the two newbies that are introduced. And when they come, Drusilla is suffering from some kind of mystical malady that requires her to get the blood of Angel. They eventually get that, and she is restored to full health, and she becomes a menace for like most of the season. We're also introduced to Kendra the Vampire Slayer. So if you recall, Buffy died temporarily a few minutes in season 1, and the death of the Slayer activates the next Slayer.
That must have happened real quick. Like how'd they even know? Right? It's just like who sent that text? Being like, hey,
The powers that be.
Buffy just died for 16 seconds. Let's
let's
get a new Slayer up and running.
And
So
who's her watcher?
So her watcher, I can kind of hear his name in my head,
Wesley?
but I'm gonna no. He's Mr. Zembuto, like.
All right,
yeah.
Like, she's got to watch her somewhere else.
Yeah, I believe
Wesley's Faith's watcher.
Yes.
Sam Zabuto.
Yeah. I believe she's supposed to be from Jamaica. Like, they give her these mysterious origins, but it's like she's from, or we'll just say she's from the Caribbean.
Yeah, man.
The subtitles did say Jamaican accent in brackets. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
So she's the new Slayer who's introduced. She stays for a little bit and then eventually leaves, but she does come back in Becoming Part 1 to sort of assist Buffy, and unfortunately she is killed.
Whoa, we're not there yet.
Okay, fine. All right. Do you want to do this instead? You told me to be quick. I'm being quick.
Yeah, but you're
fine.
jumping to the episodes we're supposed to talk about.
All right, fine. Another character we're introduced to is Oz. He becomes the love interest. Oz is the best. He becomes the love interest for Willow. Spoiler, he's also a werewolf, so that adds some interesting things into the mix. So those are the major characters. It does, yes.
Yeah.
It does.
Or does he just get locked in the library once a month?
No. if you watch the rest of the so these are the main characters that are introduced. Oh, and Jenny Calendar sort of becomes a more prominent character in season 2.
Jenny Calendar is the most important character.
Her
in
and
season
Giles are kind of crazy.
What a vibrant love affair that is. They have the chemistry. The chemistry there is palpable. It's excellent. Also, how much older is Giles than her, though? Because he looks considerably older than her. I don't blame him. I don't blame her.
Well,
He's a British librarian.
uh,
Go for it, Jenny. And go for it, Giles.
Let's see. According the actors are 16 years apart.
All right, I believe that. Yeah. So,
Question I have, because seeing the first and the finale, so what's the deal with Xander and Cordelia?
yes. Xander and Cordelia get together.
yeah.
'Cause
So
I do like that Cordelia is like part of the gang.
Yeah.
yeah. So Xander and Cordelia, for most of season 1, most of season 2, have this love-hate relationship. There is that mutual attraction, but there's also mutual disgust. And neither of them really wants to admit that they have feelings for the other. Eventually, their passions overcome their, I guess, better judgment, and they develop a relationship. They sort of date in secret, or not even really dating. They essentially kiss, like, in broom closets. They never really go on a date. And Xander calls her out on, or Cordelia calls him out on it. But they end up becoming involved. Through her involvement with Xander, she becomes more involved with the Scooby Gang. So they start dating. There is some tension with Willow, because as we know, Willow has loved Xander since, like, she's known him, since they were in footy pajamas together. So she's always had this crush on him, but I think it's at that point where she realizes there is no future in this, and that's when Oz comes into the picture, and they develop their relationship with one another. But, so Cordelia becomes a more active member in the Scooby Gang. She sort of assists at some point with, either carving steaks for them, or she's not overly involved in what they do, but through being with Xander,
She's more present, and I think she's a very welcome addition to it.
Yeah.
I even like at the end of the first episode where she's talking about being hung and nearly having her throat slit, and she's like, "Yeah, the worst part is getting the rust out of your clothes."
Yeah.
And Jenny's like, "Yeah, that's the worst part." Yeah, I like Cordelia. I'm pro Cordelia.
No, she's definitely a good character.
I actually really liked that conversation, because it's played jokey, but it's also just it's bringing back the episode's theme about trauma.
Yeah,
she's like, you can try, but the stain doesn't come out.
Yeah,
and so it's like, I was like, damn, that's a nice little little bookend there.
Yeah, I like that. That's
and
cool.
I like Jenny. Because that's the worst thing about being hung upside down by a vampire who wants to slit your throat. The stains. She goes, I hear ya. Yeah, it's just it's good. That's what the show does well, mixing the comedy with the serious. But yeah, so something you learn about Jenny Calendar at a certain point.
One new character you didn't mention is Principal Snyder.
Oh yeah, well you kind of see him in season 1. Oh yeah,
I liked Flutie better.
Flutie is unfortunately rip Flutie. He got eaten by the possessed hyena students. But Xander was not involved in that. He was away, so he didn't eat Principal Flutie. So Principal Snyder is the one who takes over from Principal Flutie, and from the get-go, he is very anti-child. In fact, Giles says, maybe you weren't supposed to be a principal if you hate children, but he sees children as people that need to be observed, they need to be silent, and, just do as they're told. He's got
some stuff going on with him, though.
He definitely does, and this is...
You'll find out.
These are glimpses of little hints to another character that you eventually meet in season 3.
The mayor.
So the mayor is mentioned, but you don't really ever see him. And an important element is in becoming part 2, Snyder calls the mayor and says, tell the mayor I have great news. But like I said, you don't meet him until season 3, but he is a really fun character. Principal Snyder is one of the characters that sort of takes a more prominent role in the show, and he sort of acts as the sort of antagonist towards Buffy, because he doesn't like her. He thinks that she's a troublemaker, but I think when you realize who he's working for, I think it starts to make a bit more sense.
We'll get to that in season 3.
Yeah, so Jenny Calendar, going back to her, there is a major revelation about her character that you learn in season 2. So her real name is Yana, and she is a descendant of the tribe, well, she's still a part of the tribe or the clan. You learn that Angel, you learn this in season 1, Angel, where Angel says, I killed the favorite daughter of this like clan and they cursed me. So she's a descendant or a member of that clan. And you learn that she was sent to Sunnydale to observe Buffy and observe Angel and prevent them from getting together.
Good job, Jenny.
But one thing I've always said, and I don't know whether, or always thought about, like, the nature of the curse never really made a whole lot of sense to me in terms of if you want to contain a potentially vile threat to humanity. Like, I don't know how I feel about a curse where you could lose your soul if he has sex with someone. Like, it's not...
That's nonsense.
Because,
I
like,
kind of hate any trope of just like, the evil Romani woman cursed you.
Yeah.
But I'm just like,
yeah, the
silly.
curse doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me in terms, like, I don't know. There's a lot that could go wrong, as it's proven.
Clearly.
You know, there's a scene where Jenny, like, she meets her uncle, and he basically is berating her for, like, forgetting to be in touch and also failing her mission. But, you know, but even when the curse has sort of been, like, Angel loses his soul, he's not overly concerned about what the fallout will be. But yeah, the curse never made a whole lot of sense to me. I don't think it's the best curse to ever put on someone.
It's
but
not
whatever.
the most airtight thing,
Yeah.
but, you know, it pushes the story along.
Yeah, so that's the revelation. Also the revelation, it's an episode I thought about making us watch, but we didn't. So before or on the eve of Buffy's 17th birthday, she and Angel are attacked. They hide, they go to his
We should
apartment.
have watched that episode.
Yeah, I was debating it, and they have
That song
sex.
that plays, Lucky,
Yeah.
that's a good song.
Yeah, they have sex for the first time. She wakes up, he's gone, and what she learns is through the act of having sex, he loses his soul, and he becomes then the main or the true antagonist for the rest of the season. And this revelation is revealed by Jenny, and Buffy is devastated because naturally, it's my fault. So she blames herself for what happens to Angel. Jenny, in a bid to sort of make amends, tries to replicate the original curse. She is successful, but that's why Angel kills her. Because he doesn't want her to curse him again naturally.
And he doesn't, you think vampire, he's going to bite her neck. He doesn't bite her neck. He breaks her neck, snaps it. Just totally vicious murder.
God, he's so much cooler when he's evil.
Love it. Yeah. Like, way to go, Angel.
I find him dull when he's good, but when he's evil, it's like,
Yeah. Evil Angel is so cool.
Yeah, the commentary for that, why he breaks her neck is almost because you're not worth me biting you.
Yeah.
So that's why he breaks her neck.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see that.
But it's a very terrifying moment because she's like running around the school thinking she got away from him, and at the last minute he appears in front of her. David Boreanaz does such a great job. He's genuinely terrifying in that episode. So that's the revelation of Jenny Calendar, what happens to her, and once we get, now do we want to talk about Becoming Part 2 before I jump to it?
Why would we talk about Part 2? Wouldn't we talk about Part 1 first?
But didn't we talk about Part 1 a little bit?
No,
we didn't
there's
get
so
super
much.
into it.
Okay,
We
fine,
get,
so
we
you
get
go.
a lot of backstory.
Yeah, there's so much
You
that
go.
happens in Part 1.
Yeah, you go.
My favorite bit of backstory is the bit with Angel and Whistler, because I
Yeah.
really like Whistler. I thought he was a very cool little character. He's like this sort of weird New York guy, and he's sort of bummy, but also
Wears a fedora.
Yeah, also he's all powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like they wanted to go somewhere with the character, but then dropped it. Because a character like him, I don't know why he would not have been brought back.
Right? It's like, come on, let's keep this guy popping up.
Yeah, because there's a lot of mystery around him, and the fact that he was essentially Angel's mentor.
Yeah. Yeah, we, Becoming Part 1, like I said, this is the beginning of the best finale of Buffy. We get a view of the past lives of Angel. We see him get made by Darla in an alley in Ireland, we can assume, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the awesome Irish accent David Boreanaz is using. And we see him get turned by the Romani person.
Mm-hmm.
We see him turning Drusilla.
Yes, we see that. In the present day, they find this box. They just happen to find this huge thing, which is a Kathla. A demon is inside it naturally, and they're going to. A Kathla can end the world, of course, and so.
I like that they can never get the name right.
Yeah. I like that Drusilla's like, something is buzzing in my head. I have whispers. And then Spike is like, she read it in the paper. I like Spike a lot.
Spike's very funny.
Yeah.
I love Spike.
There's a part I think it's in the second episode where Buffy's mom is like, do I know you? Have I met you before? And he's like, oh yeah, you hit me with an axe once. Remember, get the hell away from my daughter. And she's like, oh, right. But anyway, so Angel got to open this thing up to rid the world of everyone for some reason. Which, why would you want to do that? Aren't you going to get consumed by it too?
No, that's what I thought at first, but then you realize that non-demonic life will be sucked in.
Oh.
I still don't understand though, because humans are that whole like bid to end the world. That's another thing that like on numerous watches, like this makes zero sense.
Wait, what is he gonna eat?
Because like,
Yeah, right.
and I don't know, like, cause really, like, I understand you want to cause chaos for chaos' sake.
Maybe
but
they would all like live in hell together. They'd all like it would bring them. Maybe it would bring like the demon world out, and like it would just create this like demon empire. You know what I mean?
Maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know.
But yeah, no, Simone, I get you. 'Cause, like, I never understand like apocalyptic plans. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the end goal?
Yeah. So, and this also spurs Spike, who truly loves humanity, and you can really see in his character that he has a zest for life, even though he's undead. He truly loves being with people. Obviously, he eats them, but you know what I mean. He wants the world
He gets
to
a
sort
kick
of
out of the world
to
as it is,
exist.
yeah.
So he forms an alliance with Buffy. Of course, this is so. What happens is Angel fails the ritual, so naturally he goes to Giles, who's the smartest person in Sunnydale. Giles happens to be in the library with the gang, as they do. They're trying to curse Angel again. Drusilla comes in, and this is one of her badass moments. She has many. And this is when Kendra, unfortunately, is killed by Drusilla. She uses her powers to put her in a hypnotic state, and then she slits her throat.
With her fingernail.
I felt so bad.
Yeah.
I loved her. What did she name the steak? Mr. Pokey?
Mr. Pointy.
Pointy, that was it.
And Mr. Pointy shows up in other seasons, too. Buffy
Good.
keeps the steak.
Oh, that's one thing I want to talk about, guys.
The steak?
The steaks. The steaks in general. Like, couldn't you, like, does it have to be wood?
Yeah.
It has to be wood?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's a wooden steak.
Yeah.
You can't just use a knife?
No.
No.
No knives won't
Yeah,
kill
that's
vampires?
not the
The lore is wooden steaks.
But, like...
It's like how werewolves, it's like a silver bullet, you know?
Yeah.
But that's... I can... But what about wood piercing the heart?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. All right. You don't have to look it up.
Oh,
I was like, knives just seem so much easier to use to me. Or like she pulls out that badass sword at the end of the second episode, and I'm like, she should just use that all the time. She uses the sword to kill those vampires.
Yeah, well, she says, like, in season 1, it's, in the, first episode when Xander and Willow are talking about what will kill.
Okay.
So she says fire, wood, swords, anything will, like, decapitation
So why
will
doesn't she
do
just
it.
always use a sword?
Because I think a wooden stake is more convenient to
She
carry.
can put it in her purse.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so according to the wiki for Vampedia, the choice of wood, often oak or ash, was significant, as these woods were believed to have mystical properties capable of repelling evil forces.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense then.
In some stories of fairies, too, ash wood will also prevent them from crossing or doing something. Yeah. In fact, people like who actually believed in vampires, if Like in some countries, they would actually stake the body to the ground so the body could not rise. If that person was suspected of being a vampire, they'd stake them to the ground, like pierce them through so they could.
Were they vampires?
No, it was just
No.
it was believed. So that happens. So Drusilla kills Kendra. Giles is kidnapped. You don't know his fate until the following episode.
Xander gets his
Willow
arm broken.
knocked out.
Willow's in a coma.
Cordelia runs away. And Buffy returns to the school after Angel says, you fall for it every time. This was never about you. How stupid you are. And the police arrive, and she's essentially accused of murder.
The police finally show up. Like after
this town sucks.
Yes, after 2 years of a bunch of going on. I mean, the library basically exploded in season 1.
Yeah.
And the
Also,
police
it's
didn't
how
show up.
did they know that the library is presumably in a pretty interior location in the school?
Yeah. How were they notified of what was going on?
Do you think Angel dropped a tip?
Maybe.
Calling up a teenage girl's killing everybody in the library.
Thinking back on it, I wonder if it was Principal Snyder.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's in another episode that we haven't watched, there's an episode where something happens in the school naturally, and the police officer detective is talking to Snyder, and Snyder goes, "There's only so many times I can cover something up. People aren't stupid. They're going to figure out that we live on a hellmouth." So Snyder is aware of what's going on. But through his connections with the mayor and the police, they cover up these things. I think it's also, because this is brought up a few times, how the people of Sunnydale, I think, are aware, but they choose to ignore what's happening.
It's like Derry in it, It's
you're aware.
Obviously something's wrong, but they're just...
But you just ignore it. But I kind of think maybe Snyder may have tipped off the police.
The part in the first half of the finale where the vampire walks in to give Buffy the message to meet at the graveyard.
Oh my god! Yeah, just burning. Yeah.
Spontaneously combusts.
I was like, these kids are just gonna go to class after this?
That's what I'm saying. That school would be shut down immediately. Police would be there. FBI would be there. It'd be a wrap.
Unless you're in Sunnydale.
What was the news story that night? Was it woman spontaneously combusts in a high school room, and then the very next story is a new bakery opened in Sunnydale.
They'd be calling it NASA, I feel like. They'd be like, what happened?
They think it was a terrorist attack or something like that.
The powers that be are invested. They cover things up.
Also, this is Willow starting to get into the magic here.
Yeah.
Which,
this is sort of the beginning of the end for her when it comes to magic. Yeah, it becomes a... Yeah, because I think it's a way for her to cope with her insecurity, so magic becomes her crutch. It's her claim to fame, what she brings to, the group. But yeah, she's the one that this is, the start of her exploring magic.
What do you mean the beginning of the end for her?
In terms of her issues with magic.
So she has no issues with magic, huh?
What?
The beginning of the end of her issues with magic?
No.
No.
Yeah, the beginning of her issues.
What I meant is that this is what starts her on a path where she eventually develops issues around magic, a dependency, and other things that you see throughout the show.
Oh, I'm picking up what you put down.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's unable to complete the ritual in coming part 2 if you want to...
Another thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry. It just, how many times does this happen where the vampires come from the back of the library? Can we lock the doors? Can we do something back there?
It's probably an emergency door.
So? They're performing a ritual to kill vampires or whatever, you know what I mean?
But no one ever really comes in there. I think that gives them
vampires.
Yeah, I think that,
I'm sorry, it's just a minor thing. It's just, it always seemed to sneak up on them from that one door.
If things made sense, you wouldn't have a show. That's just what it is. So, do you want to talk about Becoming Part 2?
Let's do it.
Get us involved? Intro?
Well, I mean, Becoming Part 2 just really picks up where Becoming Part 1 left off. Buffy's on the run from the police. And she goes to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Willow's in a coma. Mm-hmm. Xander has his arm broken. Mm-hmm. Buffy goes out. Spike hilariously beats up a police officer. I say hilariously because it's just funny the way he does it. Not that beating up police officers is funny. It's not. But he beats up a police officer. He says he wants to partner with her because he wants Drusilla back. And then he goes, let me just kill this guy. And she's like, no, you can't kill the guy. It's funny. Then they go back to the house, and Buffy's mom is there. Buffy's mom's like, the cops are coming. Why? What's going on? Spike is like, oh, she doesn't know? And Buffy's like, we're in a band. And then a vampire jumps out, of course. She kills the vampire, tells her mom that she's a vampire slayer. And probably one of the most poignant arguments in all of Buffy happens right after that. Mm-hmm. Right, with her and the mom.
Yeah. So essentially, Buffy has been a slayer for 2 years now. Her mom, I love the character of Joyce, but in many ways, how oblivious she can be, and even Buffy calls her out on it. She says, what do you think has been going on for the past 2 years? The fights, the weird occurrences. She says, how many times have you washed blood out of my clothes? And I think her mother at that point slowly starts to realize, there's been a lot happening. And Buffy coming out to her mom as a slayer is supposed to be a metaphor for coming out and revealing that you're gay. It's I don't know how perfect a metaphor that is, but that's what a lot of people.
I like that metaphor quite a bit, actually. Yeah. I think that's very good. I wonder though, legitimately, was it because of who wrote it? Was it really written with that intention?
Yeah.
No, Joss Whedon, it's unavoidable. He's a creep and a scumbag, but he was at least, either genuinely or for other reasons had, progressive politics in the stuff he wrote. I know Buffy is very notable. They fought very hard for a queer storyline later on with Willow and Tara and and he was he was also the type of guy to parade himself around in t-shirts that said this is what a feminist looks like.
Oh yeah.
So which knowing what we know is a nasty little thing now, but at least he was presenting himself as being progressive on a lot of things. And
all
So
right, that's good because when I watched after we watched what was the name of the movie? The things that
I saw the TV Globe.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yes.
After we watched that, I was like, oh, okay. And then, all the stuff we know about Joss Whedon. I watched this, and I was like, that really is a wonderful, beautiful metaphor for that. But I just was curious if it was actually legit because of him.
But I know the stuff with Willow and Tara, it was very hard fought for. It took years. I think.
And there are other queer characters that show up on the show. There's it's played for laughs, where this bully character who's tormenting Xander comes out to him, and then it's I'm gay, and then I said it, and then he walks off proud of himself. So there's that moment. There's also a moment where Joyce in another season tells Buffy, I've tried to march in the Slayer Pride parade. So yeah, it's definitely supposed to be a metaphor for it. And Joyce doesn't react in the best way. Understandably, Buffy threw a lot at her, and then she just says, I need to go.
Yeah, she's we're not talking.
I do think it's more concerning if your child is fighting vampires than if they're, kissing people of the same gender. That's a little more concerning.
Yeah. So, yes.
When Joyce says, if you walk out of this house, don't even think about coming back. And then Buffy just stares at her.
Yeah.
And walks out. I was like, yo, that hits.
Yeah.
That slays. That part slays.
Well, there were people that were commenting, because I read a book, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, why I think it's still stakes are hard, or I can't remember that, but it was a great book, and the author himself.
It wasn't called Stakes Are High.
No, Stakes Are Hard. No, what?
That's such a missed opportunity.
No, Stakes Are Hard.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, I thought you said hard.
Yeah.
No. And people were talking about, who at this time had not come out to their family or friends, how that moment hit hard for them, because that is the experience of a lot of people where they come out and they don't get the reaction they're hoping for, and they do lose their family. They do lose that connection. So for many people, that moment really resonated with them when Joyce tells Buffy that, and Buffy leaves.
Yeah. Her mom was looking for her the next day, though.
Yeah.
You could tell she felt bad about what she said.
Yeah.
But that, Man.
Yeah, so Buffy goes back to Giles's apartment. She meets with Whistler, who once again gives her a bunch of cryptic information.
He doesn't really help her much at all.
Not all that helpful.
Yeah.
About basically, that she has much to lose. Buffy at this point is at her lowest and says, "No, I don't have anything to lose."
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm sorry.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
fine.
He says, Whistler, which Whistler? Why is your name Whistler? He says, she's like, I have nothing left to lose. And as she's leaving, so she can't even hear him, he's like, no, you got one more thing. But what is it?
Angel.
But she knows she's going to lose Angel. Does he know somehow that Willow doing the spell is going to work?
No.
I think I saw him as all-knowing.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Maybe if he's all-knowing.
I guess.
Yeah.
I always assumed he meant Angel. Like, I don't know. I could be very wrong. That's what I assumed.
A little, kind of bit of a mocking thing. Like, you still got Angel left to lose. Like.
Yeah. So, like, at this point, Willow has woken up. She's going to try the curse again. She tells Xander, which is one of the crappiest things that Xander does in the show, where he does not relay Willow's message.
To Buffy. But Willow wants Xander to tell Buffy that she's going to try the curse again.
Basically, in an attempt to help Buffy stall a bit.
Which, it would have been too late anyway.
Well, I think she probably would have had more urgency. I think had she known what they were trying to do. I
guess
don't know.
she looked like she was getting handled though.
Yeah, well, I guess also
she was getting vamp handled, and Spike wasn't helping.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I kind of think had he been honest, she probably would have tried to do, I don't know exactly. But the point is, he, in one of his douchiest moments, does not relay Willow's message. Instead, he says, she told you to kick his ass, which obviously Willow doesn't say that. Giles, who has been tortured, eventually reveals that it's Angel's blood that is the key, because Drusilla goes into his mind and sees what he loves the most and becomes Jenny Calendar. And one of the saddest moments.
What a scene. The only thing is the camera have to get that close to the kissing. Like, I don't need to be that close. You know what I mean? Like, back up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a really, tight shot there. I'm yeah.
It's the passion.
I don't need to see all that.
Yeah.
Spit and everything.
So Giles inadvertently reveals that Angel's blood is the key that will release a couple.
Another question.
Yeah.
Why is Angel's blood the key?
Because he's the one doing the ritual.
Oh, so not just necessarily Angel. It's who's ever doing the ritual.
So, well, what I would assume is that, yeah, if you're the one who's starting the ritual,
okay.
your blood... Because I don't... Because,
so
if
it was Spike doing the ritual, they'd be like, you got to get Spike away from the Kafla.
Well, that's what I assumed, because then Whistler says something, cryptic as always when he's talking to Buffy. He basically says how, I always assumed that Angel would be the one to stop a Kafla, which means he knew a Kafla was coming, not bring him forth. But I don't know.
Yeah, because that didn't really make much sense to me. I'm like...
I guess because he's the one doing it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah,
I don't know. But like I said, Whistler is not a terribly helpful person. Although he does tell Angel that no one listens to me, that's my curse. So he's kind of like Cassandra in Troy, how she was gifted with but no one ever pays attention to her. So she'll tell you what's going to happen, but you ignore it. So maybe maybe he could have told Buffy, Willow was going to do this, try to stall, and she probably wouldn't have believed, and I guess, because he says, no one ever listens, that's my curse. So I guess maybe to be fair to Whistler, it wouldn't have mattered.
What does he ask for when he gets the hot dog?
Mustard?
No, then he calls a hot dog something weird.
Dog me?
Yeah,
dog me.
Yeah, why does he do that? It's weird.
I don't know, isn't that a New York thing?
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I just
No. So Buffy ends up going to the mansion, which another thing. Never mind. I'll talk about that later. So she goes to the mansion, and Angel, of course, is mocking her, you don't really have good odds. Spike finally gets up from his wheelchair because he's been pretending to be incapacitated for some time now. Attacks him. Drusilla hilariously lineback tackles him, and they start fighting. And eventually, like Buffy is unable to stop Angel from grabbing the sword, and I thought that the sword was actually a twin to the one that she has. It looks the same.
Maybe, but they never mentioned anything about anything that being related
I don't know.
in any
Just
way.
like I don't know.
They were probably the prop guy probably got a 2-for-1 or something like that. And
Probably.
just called it a day.
I guess. So Angel pulls out the sword. He and Buffy start fighting. And then eventually, and while they're fighting, Willow is doing the spell, and eventually Willow becomes overcome by a force.
Starts speaking some, I don't know, is she speaking Latin?
I think she's speaking
or
Romanian.
Italian or Romanian. Some of it sounded, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
According to Wikipedia, it's Romanian.
Romanian.
Okay, good on me.
That makes sense, I guess. Because the curse
Vampire.
was Romanian, I guess, right?
Yeah. So the curse works. Angel's soul is restored.
But it's too late.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's too late.
Akathla's coming.
Yeah, the portal has
The
been
portal's
opened.
open. Akathla opens his mouth. Big vortex coming out. Everybody's about to get sucked into hell.
Yeah.
Angel becomes good Angel, boring Angel again. Is crying and is saying, Buffy, I don't remember anything. Blah, 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 crying and everything. Buffy starts crying. They have a very sad, passionate kiss. And then Buffy stabs him through the stomach. And Angel goes, ugh! And floats away into Akathla's mouth.
Yeah, I like that he gets sucked into a little vortex.
It was
never to return.
We're making light of this a lot, but the first time watching this show, I was like, wow, they got me, and then whoever is they decide to play a Sarah McLachlan song right after it, the saddest singer of all time. You just think of Puppies. And I mean that song "Full of Grace" is just so sad because of that, because of the show. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I mean, just talk about just the perfect way to end a season and to hook an entire generation of people into being like, you're gonna be watching no matter what crap we put on in the future, because trust me, they put on a lot of crap in the future, and everybody watched all of it. Because of how good this season was and how good this season finale was.
Yeah, no, I don't know where to go from that. It's it's a very emotionally charged moment because at this point Angel legitimately does not remember what has happened. I'm going to assume it's been a few months, but for him, he acts like, I feel like I haven't seen you, what did he say, in a week? Or he has no concept of how much time has passed. At this point, he does not know what he's done.
He says months. He says,
yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen you in months.
Yeah, and he's just so happy to see her. And, like, the devastation and Sarah Michelle Gellar is brilliant in that scene because she goes from still being wary, like she's still holding the sword. She was okay, like, what game are you playing? And then she slowly realizes, oh my God, he's back. And the heartbreak.
And she loves him.
And when she sees the portal, that the only way to close it is she has to kill him.
It's Angel's blood.
And she basically tearfully says for him to close his eyes, and she, and he closes them, and then she stabs him. And so the season concludes too, where Buffy leaves. She runs away. She leaves Sunnydale, and they'll deal with the consequences of that in the following season. But yeah, it's very heartbreaking, and it also goes to show that how much she's had to carry at only 17 years of age. Like she's still a child. And she's had to deal with losing Kendra, losing a teacher, losing the man that she loved, and one thing that Buffy will always say throughout the show is that Angel is her first love, and I think her only love. I don't think she ever really becomes as emotionally invested in another person the way she was with Angel. So, and she deals with the repercussions of having to kill him, another form of trauma that she goes through with the realization of what she had to do. And one thing I also paid attention to is when Willow was talking about that, she says, I know the curse worked, and you see Angel's face, he goes, well, maybe she couldn't get there in time. Maybe she didn't know. And he looks down, because he's a Like,
You mean Xander?
Yeah, Xander, sorry. Who did I say?
You said Angel.
My bad. Xander. Xander's the not Angel. Because Xander did not tell Buffy what Willow was doing. And I think Xander realizes that, and that's why he has that look on his face, because, like, he messed up big time. Which he'll be called out on that in a later season, but nothing will ever really come of it.
No, because he's never held accountable for anything.
No. But yeah,
just like somebody else. Well, I guess he was held accountable at some point. Right? Joss Whedon.
Oh, yeah.
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 But just took a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would agree that this is one of the best season finales of the show. And
you would agree with who?
You. When you said it's the best season
No,
finale.
yeah, I said it's the best, not
the
one.
best.
Not
I mean,
one.
I can't speak about the others, but this was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I would say season 2, season 4, and season 7 have the best finales for me. Maybe also season 5, but like I think like if I had to rank them, it'd be season 2, 5, 7, and 4. Like if I had to rank those seasons,
2, 5, 7, and 4. I'm not sure I remember what happens in all those other ones.
Well, we're gonna be watching season 4 and season 5.
Which is the one with Glory?
Season 5.
I also liked Glory a lot. I would follow her into hell.
You'd follow Glorificus?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ah, Glorificus, yeah. She's fun. She's a fun character. So any final thoughts?
I'd say if you have time and you're interested, even though we told you what's going to happen, watch the whole season because it really is very good.
It's really even just from what I watched, you can tell this is a show that's fully coming to its own at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, and I gotta say this, it's gonna be a little rant, but I'll be quick about it. To the person that said that Supernatural is a better show than Buffy,
Who said that?
First of all, there would be no Supernatural without Buffy. So, because they're talking about the budget, it's 2 different shows, 2 different budgets, but there would be no Supernatural with Buffy.
Who are
So
you
don't
beefing with?
Yeah.
Some person who wrote an article, and all I'm saying is you're
So it's
wrong.
not even somebody that like commented on one of our videos or something.
No, unless you do, because then I will call you out on it.
What article? What publication should we say?
I don't recall the publication. I was like reading about like Buffy, like retrospectives on Buffy, and basically it was saying why Supernatural is better than Buffy. Then it was saying tighter storylines. I am sorry,
15
Supernatural, and I adore that show. For 15 seasons, they could not have a consistent storyline if they tried. And then, like, there would be no Supernatural with Buffy. There would be no Charmed without Buffy. You wouldn't have half the teen Supernatural shows you have.
The boys on Supernatural, I'm sorry, I don't think they can act.
Oh, I love Jensen Ackles. Like, I'll fight you on that one. Like,
but do you think he's actually a good actor, or do you just like him?
No, I think he's a good actor. Yeah. No, if like.
I know people like him as Batman when he does the voice acting, but
yeah, like of the 2 lead actors, if I had to Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, I think Jensen Ackles is the stronger actor of the 2. But anyway,
which is the one with the longer hair?
That's Jared Padalecki.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, don't play those games. Buffy is 10 times better than Supernatural, and that's how it'll end.
Yeah, think about like the WB at that time. I mean, Buffy, Dawson's Creek, Felicity.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some pretty big shows that people really were watching quite a bit. Now you kind of watch. I mean, Buffy, I think is as we're rewatching, I'm like, okay, this is still kind of rewatchable. Actually, Dawson's Creek, I think, is probably not rewatchable.
I've seen some Dawson's Creek. That show is tough.
Yeah,
tough nowadays.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's very
really
good.
Funny though.
Yeah.
No, like, I definitely think, like, because people have, there are some things with Buffy that do not age well, and I think it's also, once you know the creator and, like, what he was revealed to be, it makes more sense in a retrospective. People have spoken about, like, characters of color on the show and how the show fails, though, and I would agree completely.
Yeah.
The actress who played Kendra, Bianca Lawson, I believe, she actually believed her character would have a larger part than she did, and she remembers being a little disappointed, but eventually accepting, okay. And her appearance on the show for many fans of color, it was a big deal that it was a powerful black character. And I liked Kendra. I know a lot of people are a little iffy on her. They like Faith more.
I hate Faith.
But Kendra was such an interesting character because she's so different from Buffy. She is almost like what a Slayer basically... Like, Buffy is who she is because she has friends and a support network. Kendra has none of that. She's been isolated. She was given away as a child to her watcher. So basically, the two of them juxtaposed, like, you could see, like, this is why Buffy is who she is.
That makes me sad that they killed her off, because, like, you could do a lot with that.
Yeah, I think it's a shame, and I think it was a very bad decision on Whedon's part. But yeah, like, so in many ways with characters of color, the show does fail in good representation. And I will definitely call them out on that, along with some other issues in terms of Whedon presents as this feminist, but in many ways it's not really too feminist of a show. But yeah, so certain things definitely don't age well, but I would argue it still is rewatchable, as you said.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
think
I'm coming to it now. I've seen like a handful of episodes before this, but like, I have to say, like, I am very much enjoying what I saw on season 2 in particular. So it is important to remember that a TV show is authored by many people, many hands. And while he may have been like, the guy on top, that doesn't mean there's not other people involved. Other people pushing for things.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And two, a lot of good art is made by bad people. And
Yeah,
it's just,
that's true.
You kind of just gotta
Separate out. Yeah.
I'm not even separate, just kind of go in knowing that. And sometimes it can color things, it can make it, it's just, what can you do?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like again, I'm finding myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. So like I'd say like, check this out if you're interested in like Simona said, this is the seed of like every CW show ever.
Yeah,
it really is, because even Charmed.
That's the point I was trying to get to with mentioning those other shows. Is like this is the one that kind of stood the test of time, and you wouldn't have. We're saying Supernatural and Charmed. I'd go even further. I'd say you wouldn't have Vampire Diaries.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have those.
And Riverdale.
I think it really is. It has stood the test of time, and
Supernatural even has Buffy references in it.
Yeah.
Like the show creators, like they have those references.
Yeah.
So, So what are we rating?
I thought we were gonna wait at the end.
Oh, we're gonna wait until
to rate the entire series.
All right. Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we decided at the end of the last episode.
Okay.
Is that we were gonna wait and rate everything all together.
But this is an interesting show, and I'm glad to be getting more of it.
Yeah, and there's still good stuff on the horizon. Like there's a lot of bad stuff, but there's still a lot of good stuff on the horizon too.
So wait, what do you consider to be the peak? Just season 2?
I'd say season 2 is as good as it gets, and then everything else is a level down. But I would still say seasons 3 and 4 are still so like if season 2 is an A+, season 3 and 4 might be like an A-, and then season 5 might be like a B.
Okay, Simona, what's your like pick for the peak of the show?
Oh, I don't know if I have a peak, but the season, so as far as I'm concerned, season 7, the first half is good. The rest should not have existed, really. I have a lot of issues with season 7, and I'll get into that when we discuss season 7. A lot of issues with it. Season 6 has its good moments, but it's just such a difficult season to get through because of the level of just... It's like the most depressed season. The characters go through so much, so it's almost hard to enjoy, although it has its good moments. So for me, if I had to rank, my favorites are 2.
Kind of felt pretty depressed. So.
Oh, no. When you get to season 6, you'll understand. So for me, if I had to say the seasons I love, it's 2, 3, and 5 are my favorites of the show.
Okay.
5 I know is people don't like Glory, but I think it's probably one of the tightest season. 4 is a mixed bag of a season, but I would say 2, 3, 4 and 5. But
Maybe-
of my favorites, 2, 3, and 5.
Maybe I'm forgetting then. Maybe I'm forgetting the 2 because 2 and 3 I remember pretty clearly.
Yeah.
And I remember the season with Glory very clearly.
Yeah.
Is season 4 with Riley?
Yes.
Then I don't like that season.
Oh,
Then
when
I
we
don't-
get to that, I'm going to be Riley's defense.
Then I don't
no
like
one
that
likes that
season.
man. I feel so sorry.
Yeah, I did look up a ranking of episodes because I was curious, and so many of them at the bottom were just like, oh, it's another Riley episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we get to 4, I'm going to be a Riley defense.
So I take that back then. Season 2, A+, season 3, A, season 5, A-, and season 4, maybe like a C+.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah. So thank you
Season
so
6
much.
and season 7 are really down there for me.
Yeah, they are. So thank you so much for joining us, and shout out again to the 2
Max, Alex, thanks, buddies.
Thank you so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.